He's at it again. He's just at it again.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate, enslave, and so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce, and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast, and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts, and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring, and George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil, chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk a doubter, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
He's at it again. He's just at it again. Joseph R. Biden, the unduly elected 46th President of the United States. And apparently he wants to go down in history. It seems this way to me. He wants to go down in history as the adolescent, genital-obsessed president. And he's over there on the White House lawn in that party where that Montoya person flashed the cameras and whatnot. And he said in his speech, referring to children, that he wants to change from boys to girls and girls to boys without parental consent. These are our kids. So you got the President of the United States telling parents that their children belong to the state. Tell me that ain't cringe. What makes it even more cringe, look at how one of his kids, at least one of his kids, turned out. So you would want that person who proved to be an unfit father and now an unfit grandfather that doesn't recognize one of his grandchildren to tell you who your kids are? I don't have kids, but that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm somebody who's not a parent, but I have very close friends who are parents. I have cousins within my age group who are parents, most of whom voted Democratic and aren't down with this jive, yo. They're not down with this. Does he want to lose his voter base? You had so many left-leaning people that gradually got pushed to the right, making them more towards the center there. And then things got so radicalized, they got thrusted all the way to the right. Today's right is yesterday's center. Yesterday's left is today's center. And it's because of this fanatical narrative. And Joe Biden's handlers, his babysitters, his diaper changes, the people who lay him down and change his diapers, they're instructing him to push this narrative. And it's a toxic narrative, a very cringe-worthy narrative. As many of my Jewish friends would say, oy vey. This guy, man, he needs to be voted out of office. Yeah, I'm wearing this hat. But even if you're one of those Republicans that want a boring Republican president, you know, somebody who's the equivalent of a single scoop of vanilla ice cream with no sprinkles, or a single plain untoasted slice of white bread. You know, even if you're one of those Republicans that think a boring president is effective, you gotta see this and, you know, vote with your head and say, we can't have this fanaticism running our country anymore. We can't have people that put identity politics over competence. I'm not homophobic if I say our Secretary of Transportation is incompetent. I'm not racist or anti-lesbian if I say the president's press secretary is more combative with the press than informative. I'm not the one committing elder abuse when I say the President of the United States himself is incompetent. If anything, the people who rallied to put him in the White House are the ones committing elder abuse. And look what they're doing to that poor guy, John Fetterman. I cannot stand John Fetterman's politics, but I genuinely feel bad for the man. This man seriously needs to be retrained for speech. This is a serious matter. I mean, people who suffer a stroke can be retrained to talk again. It's not a joke. People suffer strokes and they're faced with the unfortunate circumstance of having to be retrained on how to speak. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but it is what it is. And I would try to. He would save a lot of face, this Fetterman, if he were to step down, have a spokesperson say that, oh, Senator Fetterman thought of it in the best interest of his constituents of Pennsylvania and the American people, that he stepped down, rehab, get himself back 100% so he can better serve his constituents on a later date. He would save a lot of face in doing that, and he will have earned a lot of respect even from people who don't agree with his politics. This is logic, though. The left has proven to be illogical. This is why there is no Democratic Party on planet Vulcan. They are so illogical, they wouldn't survive a day on planet Vulcan. Now people are gonna do the research and see what political party Gene Roddenberry voted for, Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock, who he voted for, who does William Shatner support, and all this other nonsense. I'm sorry, but logic is often associated with people who watch Star Trek with the planet Vulcan. It just is what it is. And we have that running joke that if you're not logical, you can't survive a day on planet Vulcan. So, lighten up, people. Lighten up. That's another thing. People are so sensitive to speech. You're so sensitive to speech. We're going to have soldiers that are going to have the barrel of an enemy's gun pointed right at them. And that enemy might say, in whatever English they might know, "Put your weapon down, sir." And while you're giving them while that soldier is giving them a lecture on how cruel it is to mispronoun them, they're going to get blown away and get past a whole bunch of other soldiers that have that same philosophy, that put that ahead of defending the country. And the next thing you know, soldiers from an enemy nation will be in every living room. Identity politics depletes the defenses of a nation against foreign enemies. And make no mistake, there is such a thing as a foreign enemy. China is not merely an economic rival. If they're cheating to gain world economic dominance over us, in particular, they're an enemy. They're smiling in our faces while pushing that knife in our backs. Not even. Right in front of us, pushing that knife right in our chest with a smile. And people are worried about identity politics. And we have a president who is more concerned with feminizing our male youth than teaching our youth of the importance of their part in preserving, protecting, and defending the Constitution of the United States. And he's certainly not leading by example in preserving, protecting, and defending the Constitution of the United States. He's done things that are blatantly unconstitutional. There are allegations out there that he's on the take. There are whistleblowers out there that named him by name that the FBI is trying to silence. This is some serious stuff going on. A lot more serious than everything Donald Trump has been accused of combined. And speaking of that, we have somebody who was impeached twice and has indictments thrown against him in 3 different parts of the country: New York, Florida, Washington. And he's still way ahead of everybody else from both parties in the polls, because the American people, thankfully, thank God, are waking up And they're not falling for the bullshit anymore. They're finally seeing through this legacy media and whatever narrative they're on the take to push. This is some serious stuff here. He's basically trying to lay claim on other people's children after doing such a lousy job in raising at least one of his own. He's on the take. The FBI, who takes orders directly from him, are silencing the whistleblowers who have pointed this out. And he's advocating for the mutilation and feminization of boys who have the potential to grow up otherwise to be men who will be defending this country. We're in a very sad state of affairs if the person representing the country is doing and saying things that put out a clear signal that he wants to destroy it. As you sit on that, respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, like and share my content when and wherever you see it. Stay strong, keep kicking that slang. This is your boy MC Too Tall.